What comes first? The millennium rule, the rapture, the last 7 years. There has been, over the years, many disputes over the rapture and the millennium rule. I have had pastors saying the last 7 years is first, the end comes, and then we have the millennium rule, but no one can show any proof or evidence of which will take place first. The way to the accurate answer is by the way of Jesus. Let me show you how, and God will prove it to you by His calendar. Now I will guide you as quickly as I can. We start with the Jewish calendar, the Jewish date 3760. The Bible states God chose you before the foundation of the world, the foundation being man, Adam, and Eve. Look it up yourselves on the net. The Jewish records relate this time to the year 3761 BCE, so you were chosen before this year. Pick up your phone, bring up your calculator, and enter this year's Jewish calendar for 2025, the year 5785. Now deduct from 5785 the year you were born and press equals. Now from the figure you see on your calculator, deduct from this how old you will be at the end of 2025 and press equals. You now see the year 3760, the year before Adam and Eve. Don't forget this, we are working purely with calendar dates. You see, we have to work with the Jewish calendar because Jesus was Jewish, and this is the calendar that provides all the evidence that we need. So you have just seen your link to God by your birth. Now Jesus was born in the Jewish year 3755, and when he was 30 years old, he started his ministry. Add 30 years to 3755, and you got 3785. Now look at this. This year's Jewish calendar date is 5785. A perfect 2,000-year alignment to 2025, and the 6th year of Jesus was the Jewish year 3760 AC. So now you have a link to Jesus by your birth year. Now as you saw, Jesus aligns to 2025, the 2,000-year alignment. We lay out a short timeline, 2025 to 2030. And the first 6 years of Jesus alongside these dates. We have placed Jesus with our world calendar at the position 2025. Now look at the 6th year of Jesus, 3760. If we add 2030 and 3760 together, we get the year 5790. This is the Jewish calendar date for 2030. Which places Jesus correctly in 2030. There is also a countdown sequence, number 5 in 2025 down to 0 in 2030. I will quickly show you. Take 2025 and 3755 and 5785. Our world calendar, the birth year of Jesus, and the current Jewish calendar date for 2025. Deduct 2025 and 3755 from 5785. Do the same for 2026 and 3756 and 5786. You get the number 4, and so on. So this countdown sequence is another proof of Jesus in 2030. What else can it be? We move on. Now, as you saw, Jesus aligns to 2025, the 2,000-year alignment. We now have a timeline showing the full circle of life. Look at this. You can see the beginning to beginning. Look at the dates above. The year before Adam, 3760. We have the following year, 3761, the year of Adam and Eve. Now the dates at 2030, we have 3,760 and 2031. We move into 3,761 with Jesus, and your birth year confirms it, also placing you in 2030. So the millennium rule starts in the year 3,761, our world calendar 2031. You see, we ourselves become Adam and Eve living in a peace with Jesus. And remember this, we are dealing purely with calendar dates, nothing more. There is much that happens in the millennium rule. We have Satan and his army with his followers. They are bound up for 1,000 years. All weapons destroyed and used for fuel for 7 years. Animals become tame and no longer kill. Health restored. There is no more sickness. Deserts and wasteland become like the Garden of Eden. And we walk with Jesus just as Adam and Eve did with God in the Garden of Eden, a full circle of the life of man. Many people say it's history repeating itself. Well, here you see it and live it. Now the wonderful 1,000 years comes to a close, and as Adam and Eve were tempted by Satan, so shall we be. You see, we don't get away lightly. You now are tested. Do you stay true to God and Jesus, as you have just spent a great part of your life being provided for and loved by God and Jesus? Can you resist Satan's temptations, or do you turn away from God and accept Satan's offerings? God provides a great deception, but the wise will understand and flee. Jesus leaves the temple in Jerusalem, and Satan is released from bondage. He sets himself up as God. As for many, they will not realize it is not God. This is the great deception. So Satan is released for a 7-year period. This is the final 7 years. Now you will see the ministry of Satan aligns perfectly to the ministry of Jesus. And we are the ones that have to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. Now I have to say sorry for the small print, but I needed to get everything into one slide to get the true visual picture. So please bear with me. Here we have laid out a timeline of the ministry of Jesus, placing the events over a 7-year period, looking at year 5 to 6 and 7. I have placed Jesus laid to rest at these positions. This is for the visual understanding when we look at Satan's ministry. So let's look closely at this ministry. If you can see it, that is. First, Satan appears on the scene year 1, where Jesus is baptized, and then goes into the wilderness and is tempted by Satan. The ministry of Jesus runs for around 3 years. Jesus is betrayed and put to death. Then we have the resurrection. Jesus is then resting in the tomb 3 days and 3 nights. Then a member of the religious sect called Saul appears on the scene. Saul gets the authority to hunt down the followers of Jesus, which spans a 3-year period. He set out to destroy the 3 years' works of Jesus. But then Jesus comes down and stops Saul in his tracks. Jesus blinds Saul for a 3-day period. Then Saul is restored, becoming a true servant of God and Jesus. Now, having viewed the ministry of Jesus closely, these are the footsteps we all take as a test, to see if we are worthy to have a place with God in the new creation. So we move now into the ministry of Satan, where we see exactly where the rapture sits and the abomination that causes desolation. So we have Satan released, and he prepares for his ministry. Now Satan is set up in the temple, making himself to be God. He tries to change God's people with great temptations. The wise flee to the wilderness for safety. The 2nd year, Satan continues with his deception, trying to change the people. All must stay out of harm's way. We will be questioned and trapped. and somewhere in this ministry laws will be given out that contradict the laws of God. The third year of Satan's ministry, the temptation must come to an end, because we have the abomination that causes desolation set up. Now the Bible states in the book of Daniel that the abomination is set up in the middle of the 7, which on our timeline is year 4. This perfectly aligns with Saul from the ministry of Jesus. So we have an accurate placing of the abomination that causes desolation. Now also in the book of Daniel, Gabriel, the angel of God, tells Daniel that pray you survive to the 1335 days. This is a 3 and just over a half year, which places us again in year 4. Now, if we survive the 1335 days, we are taken to safety. This is the rapture. If we have resisted Satan and stayed true to God, whether dead or alive, we are raptured, taken to a safe place. The position of this rapture perfectly aligns with the resurrection of Jesus. Note this: as Jesus rested in the earth for 3 days, we rest in a safe place for the remainder of the 7, which is 3 years, perfectly positioned on our timeline. So it all makes sense. Jesus was free from sin when he was resurrected. Now all the people that are free of sin, that stayed true to God and Jesus, are raptured. The remaining people must face a hard survival. So the 1335 days are reached. The rapture takes place, and now we move into year 5. The raptured people rest the first year, matching the first day's rest of Jesus. We have the abomination obviously hunting out the people, just as Saul hunted for the followers of Jesus. We now move into the 6th year. The rapture's people rest a 2nd year, matching the 2nd rest day of Jesus. And the remaining people face great hardship. As the rivers and streams dry up, the plagues of God's wrath are poured out on the people, making survival harder by the day. Year 7, the raptured people rest the 3rd year. Matching the 3rd day, Jesus rested. The remaining people find themselves with no water, no food. Man eats man to survive. This is not a place you want to be in. Now in the Bible it states that a remnant of the people of God, the ones that repented and cried out to God, are taken to safety. Now the great battle of Armageddon, the battle between God and Satan's armies, God finally raises the dead in the last resurrection and wipes the earth clean with fire. God then renews the earth, and the raptured people are returned to a new earth. The new Jerusalem comes down, and God makes his home with us, as the new earth becomes the heavenly place, and we rest in eternal life with God. And there we are. So by looking at the timeline, you see a perfect alignment, a complete picture of what will take place in the future. We must give 100%. To God we must fight the good fight, as they say, to have a place with God and Jesus on the renewed earth. For as we are returned to earth and the new Jerusalem descends, as God makes his home with us in the new world. There is so much information through the Old and New Testament in the Bible, which explains in great detail the events we have just covered. You see, God's calendar confirms the millennium rule starting in 2031, the 1,000 years of peace. Then we have the final 7 years with the rapture in the middle of the 7, aligned with the resurrection of Jesus and the final battle of good and evil. The end then comes. If you want to see more relating to the calendar and a more in-depth look, then see my other works, the presentation, showing 3,760. Have a safe journey to 2030. God bless.